Okay, we're on the air. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Meredith Harris, and I'm convening the Sewer Commission meeting at 2 o'clock today on June 22nd, 2023. As you all know, we are all dealing with a very heavy heart at the loss of Ray Jack. So we'll still carry on in his honor. So may I ask you please to stand to do a Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And there's no question about how we'll be able to use our moment of silence. So may we have a moment of silence in honor of Ray Jack, our interim engineer. Thank you. Are there any members of the audience who would like to make a statement or have anything to say for public participation this afternoon? Okay, seeing no responses, we will continue to move on. So we have the minutes to, I hope everyone has had a chance to review the minutes from the meeting of June 8th.
I make a motion to accept the notes of June 8th.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Joe?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. The minutes are accepted. So as we'll move forward with the agenda, we needed to look at whether or not, Sandy, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot for a minute to ask you if there was anything, if we have a draft from GHD at all about the revolving fund.
No, ma'am. No.
Okay. The next item on the agenda, as you can all imagine, we're kind of thrown into a bit of a turmoil, but we're going to continue to try to move forward with this. The next item on the agenda was to get a review of the progress of the sewer project construction. Again, Sandy, would you be able to, this is Sandy Tripp from GHD, would you be able to give us a brief review of where we are? And I must say, I did have the pleasure of meeting with Frank Goodhall, who's a project manager, and it's extraordinary to be able to see the plant as it's coming forward and moving forward. It's great work that you all are doing. So.
Okay. Can you all hear me okay? Is the mic on? Okay. I'm very happy to provide an update of the construction project. I'm not even close to filling Ray's shoe, but I will do my best for all three of the construction projects. I'll start with Contract 1, which is the Water Resource Reclamation Facility. And basically, in May of 2023 and also into June of 2023, this project is focused on concrete. We are in the process of placing a lot of steel, water stops, and concrete, not only for the two buildings, but also for the tanks that are going in. And I wanted to take just a moment to talk about the construction of the influent pump station. It's a little different than the other structures. This is a precast structure, meaning it's made off-site and brought onto the site, and it's very deep. So in the first picture there, you can see the contractor is installing what is called shoring. It's active shoring, which keeps the soils away from the excavation and keeps the excavation safe for the construction workers. The second picture, this is so deep that a bucket can't get down to excavate, and they're actually using basically a vacuum truck to remove or suck out the last few feet of this excavation. Wow. And then in the third picture, you can see the contractor's vibrating or compacting the subgrade for this structure. You can see also the beautiful sands that you have on site. Those are nice sands, they're nice subgrade, but they're not stable if you don't support them. Then they set the precast structure, and you can get an idea of the size of it. This is just one section of it. There are many sections that get placed on top of each other. The next steps will actually be, this is the first structure that the wastewater sees when it hits the site. It will hold the raw wastewater, and then pumps within this wet well are actually going to lift the wastewater to the top of the process, and then it flows by gravity throughout the plant. We need to hydraulically test this structure to make sure it doesn't leak before we introduce wastewater to it, and then we provide an interior coat to protect it, and it'll be backfilled. I just wanted to give you a close-up look at that one structure. It is a different type of construction than the rest. And the rest is, if you've been out there, you've been seeing a lot of this. The first picture is the preliminary treatment building. It's much further along now. This was last month, and they were setting forms for the foundation. And then the second and third pictures are the process tanks that are going in. That is next to the process building. Those are your main process tanks. For the collection system on the north end, in May, they were focused on Butler Lane and Drew Lane. This map, I believe, is on your website, or will be on your website, and it shows the progress to date. They placed around 1,400 feet on contract to the north end of the north part of the project. And you may have noticed if you're driving around town that you got detoured if you were in this area. Next month in June, they're going to continue with lateral installations, in other words, the pieces that actually go up to each property, and moving on to High Sachem Road near the end of the month. And here's some, this is a couple of pictures from Butler Lane. One is installation of a gravity sewer, and you can see the road kind of disappears, but it'll be put back. And then the installation of a manhole structure. On Drew Lane, we've had to reinstall some drain pipe. And again, we've got manholes going in on Drew Lane as well. Contract 3 is the south side, the south end. And here's a map in, says June. Lateral crews were finishing up Simon's Narrows last month, and they were working on shipwreck and ship's wheels, and, oops, I missed, sorry. And then they'll be moving on to, Ship's Wheels Drive, next month. Doing gravity sewers in the ship area of town. These pictures are part of contract 2, but they show a couple of different installations. On the right is a leaching pit. If you've ever had a structure and you know the rainwater comes and disappears, this is probably what it's going into. It's a concrete structure with a lot of holes in it, taking advantage of the good sandy soils we have on Cape Cod. And then in the second picture, which is actually the first picture on the left, is installation of manhole frame and cover on Shipwreck Drive. And you'll notice that's brickwork being done, and very nicely being done. The Cape is unique now in that we have very qualified and competent bricklayers. So a lot of the manhole structures are still being benched in brick and risen in brick. That's unusual. And finally, I'll show you 3 figures that you've seen before, updated. One is the cash flow for the treatment plant. Sorry. As you can see, if you remember, the yellow line represents the spending as of May, the end of May. The red line is projected spending for the adjusted project. We have had one change order. And the blue line was the original budget. And you can see we're tracking right on along as far as cash goes on the expected spending rate. And the progress is going along on schedule as well. Contract 2, the north end, you can see here that there's quite a difference between the actual expenditures, which is much higher than the budgeted. Budgeted and adjusted are the same. The contractor is further ahead than they might be. They've, as you know, Robert B. Auer is the contractor for both of these contracts, and they've put a lot of their effort into this contract. So they are ahead of schedule on this. And maybe, I don't want to call them behind schedule, because you put the two together, they're doing just fine. But you'll see that this one lags behind a little bit on the cash flow and the progress. But they plan to get both jobs done on time. And that's all I have for you today. Any questions?
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you. There's a bit of an elephant in the room. We had expected that there would be some more information that we would have about working toward the project evaluation form and the state revolving fund. Part of that certainly depends on, and I'm going back to agenda item number 1, and part of that revolves around the sewer commission coming up with a suggestion, or with a recommendation, not a suggestion, a recommendation of the next direction to go with the project. Now, a few weeks ago, Joe, you had a suggestion, and I believe that we have another suggestion or recommendation that we'd like to talk about today.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, please.
I apologize for not being at the last meeting, although having watched it on TV, it certainly was a lively one. And unfortunately, a lot of things have happened since that meeting. Ray was a unique combination of engineer, educator, and politician. He took this job not because he needed the money, but because he loved the work and wanted to help guide Mashpee in this massive undertaking. Ray reviewed our existing plans, Phase 1, helped with the bid process, helped with getting additional funding, and oversaw the construction. He reviewed what we had proposed for Phase 2, which you've all seen. This was the original proposal that we had had. And spent a lot of time going over what he thought was the proper course of action. Later in February, he proposed a modified Phase 2, and this increased our emphasis on the Mashpee River nitrogen removal cleanup process. The Sewer Commission, under the help of Joe Lyons, further increased the expanding of the Mashpee River remediation, including some underperforming sewer plants in the area. This was presented by GHD on May 11th, 2023 meeting. We no longer have Ray to guide us, but we have his plan for the next step. I can think of no greater tribute that we could pay Ray than to approve the plan he has left us. It is a lot of money, a bold step, but we believe and we trust in Ray that it was the right step in the right direction at the right time. Madam Chairman, I would like to adopt the Mashpee Watershed Nitrogen Management Plan and this upcoming phase and produce the document to the Select Board for their recommendation and action.
Are you making that as a motion?
That is a motion. Is there a second?
What document was this, first of all? That's a presentation, okay?
What's the date of that?
May 11th
May 11th.
presentation.
You've seen that.
Oh. Yeah, that was his presentation.
What that is a summation of what Ray had put together
Yeah.
on this document.
Is this the April 13th document from GHD?
No, this
May
is
11th.
It was
Modified.
what he had prepared.
Perhaps, Al, if you clarify the areas that are covered in this, just
Sure.
that the way people have a better understanding of it.
Okay, the, is modified.
I said 413. This is the same one that I'm referring to as 413.
Okay, thank you.
This is the numbers.
Yes.
Oh, I was talking about the geography.
Oh, okay. What it does, it heavily attacks the Mashpee River, as we've discussed. It moves north into what we've called 2B and 2C, which are just the north of the plant and are heading, this would include the lower part of our lakes, our ponds rather. And it,
Does it? Does it,
yes,
does this now include Pirates Cove?
Pirates Cove is in 2A.
Yeah, that's why.
yes, it
that's why I'm
includes, oh,
asking.
yes, oh, yes.
Yeah, so
It basically includes everything that we had in our first phase, but it eliminates all this work on the west and eliminates all this work up in the east. And it, basically, it's saturating one area of town.
We can't put that up to everybody, so one person discussing it, the other person
No, I know.
finding it, that's no good. We have a
Yeah.
committee here and
Can
we
we
have
pull,
guests.
can we pull it up on the Mashpee website? Is it
No,
on
it's
there?
not on the website.
So,
But I think,
That has to be distributed to the group, first of all, before
Yeah.
we can discuss it.
it has been distributed to the group.
Yes, but none of
That's
us,
how I got
only
it.
I and you have it, so that's two people.
Yeah, I don't have a copy.
And there was serious discussions with Ray about errors in it that we were going to correct, okay? This is a page that said $145 million could be the next stage. It was not decided that they were going to, that Ray was going to go forward with this. If somebody else has a different opinion, I appreciate it. This was his working towards a plan. He didn't propose this as a plan. I'm sorry, Al, but
He didn't propose this? That's what he stood up and gave us.
we looked at 2B, for example, and it has no benefit for us.
was-
And it cost 70 million, so he was not going to go forward with that.
Yeah. he wasn't
The other
ready.
stuff is pretty well done, but there's a whole bunch of things missing in it, too, that he was going to do. It's not a good, it's not documented. We've got to have a better detail than this.
my question then would be, in reference to, this is actually the second plan. The first one was the plan for 2015.
Right.
And so we still have the 2015 plan that is in process. We finished with Phase 1. And my belief is that Phase 2 and Phase 3 of the original plan does take into account the sections within this project that takes us through, again, addressing Mashpee River, Pirates Cove, and also this takes it a bit further north. So I believe that we should move forward with a recommendation and to begin to, we can't just keep waiting and waiting. But I do believe that we have a solid plan in our 2015 plan. It's been modified to a certain degree, and that this second plan is a modification of that carries us through to get to the next step. So we had a motion on the table So would you want to modify your motion at all before we do a second?
I have a different understanding than Joe. I thought, and I believe, that this is what he had because he had presented it to us. The changes we made post this was because of the concerns that we all have over the Mashpee River. But I would like to send this forth as is.
It's still my understanding that we're awaiting the data from GHD that
We haven't received
from
the
the
data
change.
that we've requested. That's the
Yeah,
problem here.
and I'm not comfortable
Okay.
going forward without a review of the latest information that GHD has gone to a lot of effort to collect. And
Anastasia has the data.
Yeah.
I had discussed it with her, and she was going to prepare it, and then it disappeared again. What it was a simple list of the options to go to fill line 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the existing plant that we're building now. We have not received that list from her that explains the price for each of those areas, so we could add them up and then have a way of going forward and asking for the state for money.
That isn't
We have-
this?
We have our, excuse me, no, that's not it. That was a draft that preceded all the conversations. Rodney, you had a question or wanted to say something?
The town manager has attended the meeting and has a comment to make.
Good afternoon. Obviously, all the town staff, and I trust boards, committees, commissions are in mourning over the loss of Ray Jack. I can't tell you what a true professional he was to work with and how much I'm going to miss him. I certainly relied very heavily upon his advice and counsel, and he was extremely dedicated to this community and to seeing this project through. Having said that, we understand that these are unique and extraordinary circumstances, and we have to rise to the occasion for him and for the community, particularly given the situation that necessitates swift and timely action. We are literally in the process of coordinating this. I am working with GHD, with EP, Weston and Sampson, and I've had a couple meetings which your chair has attended, and I trust that there will be information to be provided at the Select Board meeting on Monday night. I'm not here to be disrespectful to the Sewer Commission. It's just, number one, I feel obligated to bring anything to them first, and then secondly, this is literally a work in progress. But I do believe that there will be a so-called plan of action that will be ready on Monday. I further believe that I call it a menu option, but it's not going to be one particular plan, but rather a menu of options that this commission and the Select Board can take a look at ultimately. In regards to funding, obviously, there's a schedule for that as well. In terms of what option is ultimately chosen, I think that will link to what the cost is going to be in regards to May of 2024. But there will be a timeline for SRF being submitted by August 11th. There will be a plan for the purposes of looking at options in regards to the scope. But we will meet the SRF deadline, and we will also ensure that design comes before the town in October, and that funding of whatever Phase 2 consists of, whether you call it Phase 2, 2A, 2B, or whatever you call it, it'll be presented to the folks at town meeting in May. But the idea is to bring design in October, and again, we have a plan relative to SRF. So people don't walk in May and say, we missed the 0% for the year. And that's all I can really say.
Thank you for the information. I have a question for you, though. Is there a reason why none of the plan or any of the information was brought to us before this meeting?
Already,
Or is it still in the process? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's not like we haven't had a plan. We've had a plan since 2015.
Exactly.
But
I mean,
Phase 1 through 5 changed to Phase 2A through 2F or whatever it was.
Right.
And then additionally, there's also been further discussion, according to my sources, there's been further discussion at this level in terms of whether or not that needs to be modified. So, again, you've got your authority. The Select Board is obviously the executive body that sets policy, but I'm not here to debate, what plan is the best, but I think it's incumbent upon myself and my staff to present the options, and within your respective authorities, make a decision.
agreed. And I appreciate the amount of effort that's going into it. I understand how much turmoil we are all in, given the loss of Ray Jack. And I know how hard you and your staff are working in order to move this forward. But I feel as if we've been waiting for information from GHD for months in order to come to the next decision, to be able to make the recommendation to the Select Board.
GHD, and I know they're here,
Yes,
has
ma'am.
been outstanding.
I agree with you. This is not a criticism
I
of
can't
them.
compliment them enough, given the fact that on short notice, actually no notice, I asked them to come in for an immediate consultation so that we could get on the same page.
Absolutely.
The person that I was always relying on for that was Ray Jack. So I literally have no person to review all of these invoices that are coming in, and I want to make sure that everything that's getting processed is in order. So we had to have a contingency plan for that, in addition to making sure that everything that I feel has been expected from staff to produce in the timeline that I just articulated, got to make sure that that's all done too. And we got a few other things going on as well, so,
Just a few.
yeah.
Again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the effort that's going into
Yeah.
this. It was not a criticism of you to ask that question. But my question is, so will the meeting on Monday then be a joint meeting with the Sewer Commission and the Select Board? Or will it be,
It is
how will
not.
this plan and the coordination among the two groups and among the engineers and among yourself and your staff, how will all of that take place?
Well, first of all, nobody's pushing any panic buttons. We've got the time. I think the concern primarily was the August 11th deadline. I'm
Absolutely.
telling you right now, that's going to be satisfied, and I've spoken with the respective people involved, and that will be taken care of.
Okay,
In regards to design, whether it be, I don't know, 3 million, 4 million, or less, that will be brought before October, and then we'll focus on May. in whatever phase 2, or whatever you want to call it, 2A through F, whatever it consists of, that will be brought before the people on May.
Would it be appropriate to expect that we will have a plan that we could look at for our next sewer meeting?
I explained that there's going to be a menu option.
That's what I meant. Will that menu option be available?
Look, we're working as quickly as possible. I mean, there are some things that need to be tied down to make sure that we're all on the same page here.
Agreed.
We were well on our way with the plan that Al's quoting off of one of the pages, and I have it reproduced here. The proposed area plan that was changed, quote unquote, or it was proposed to be changed. It was never voted on, so it was never changed, which introduced 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2F, is an area of confusion and problematic, both from a financial and an engineering point of view. It was conceived politically, and it didn't work. All three of the people that were involved in proposing it, and they didn't have the authority to approve it, are no longer part of the organization of the Sewer Commission or the Board of Selectmen. So Ray and I had discussed at length. 2C, there's no units up there. There's no sense putting money into the ground. 2D, same thing. And 2F is in the western water section. We don't want 2F in this either. So where you got A and B, and finish the 2A section down the other side of the river, but then we have the option of 4 or 5 streets or areas that could be put into a neat package that will make up this program. Is this the way you're proceeding, or are you proceeding some other way?
First of all, I'm not an engineer, and I'm not proceeding in any particular direction other than, obviously, I am fully aware of the significance, the importance of addressing this in a priority manner. There's been a lot of concerns expressed. I think anybody that was at the select board meeting and saw the video understands that is not who we are or who we want to be. In regards to how to go about it, like I said, there will be more being introduced Monday night. I don't know what else to tell you.
Are we part of that plan, or are you just going to present it to us as a fait accompli? That's my question.
Okay. I'm not here to be disrespectful to this commission. I report to the select board. I want the moment to bring it to the select board Monday night. There will be no secrets. It's a public meeting.
Thank you.
Who's
okay.
providing you with the plan?
We've always had a plan, Joe. It's called Phase 1 through 5.
Yes, but we haven't gone back to that because this politically conceived quote-unquote change has been part of our nomenclature all the time now, and that's going in the wrong direction from an engineering point of view.
Okay.
Phase 1 in the 2015 plan, if we complete that, we got no problems.
Let me just
It's all there
explain
in
something.
writing, and it's expensed.
Yeah, let me just explain something. As you know, I'm not an engineer, and I'm not going to stand here and profess to be. So in terms of the 2A through E
2F.
or F, I wasn't trying to open up a political can of worms here. I was just simply saying that that is up to policymakers, whether it be within the authority of the Sewer Commission or whether it be a direction provided to me as a matter of public policy by the Select Board. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to let the policymakers make the policy and implement them to the best of my abilities within my authority.
Al, well, you were trying to get us to vote on this morning. Where did it come from?
It came from one of our previous meetings. And Joe, the 2F that you talk about is right beside the Mashpee River. It's not someplace else. I don't know.
2F
But-
was all around John's Pond in the original.
No, that was, no.
But you see, the discussion, thank you so much for your input.
That was
But-
2E.
But the point that we have is that what has been approved by the state has been that the 1 to 5 phase in the 2015 plan. And if we were to look at that plan, which is congruent with what you just presented, Al, would be sections, so we're in phase 1 now, which is where the treatment plant is and where the pipes are being laid. The next 2 phases, and I hate to keep using the same phase because phase has just been worn out, but phase 2 and phase 3 then encompasses the end of the going toward Papaneset Bay and going towards Pirates Cove and Mashpee River. So again, that is the plan that's been approved by the state. And it seems that if we're going to move forward, that we need to stick with what we've got and with some modifications that make economic and, what's the other word I'm looking for, but both
Feasibility.
engineering and economically feasible. Both of them have to be put together. And I realize that that's what you're working toward.
Yeah, obviously, phase 1 is a work in progress. Robert B. Hour is doing the collection system, as you know. Waterline's doing the facility, as you know. GHD has their role. EP has their role. And the town was relying heavily on Ray Jack.
Yes.
So we can't hit pause, given the necessity and the importance to what we're dealing with. And quite frankly, he wouldn't want us to. And one of the most crushing calls that I've ever received was this weekend when his wife called to say that he had passed and said he wanted you to know, Rodney, personally, how sorry he was that he would not be able to finish phase 1. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. So all I'm asking for is just a little bit of patience so that we are able to get all of the folks together. I've got a meeting scheduled Monday afternoon before the Select Board meeting with GHD, with EP, and Weston and Sampson. And everything is getting pulled together. We will have something ready for Monday night.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would request to be a part of that meeting, to be honest with you.
I know the meeting has been posted, it's a public meeting, so I'm not trying to exclude any sewer commissioner from the meeting.
No, I know the Select Board meeting is public, but I meant the meeting before the Select Board meeting.
That's going to be an operational meeting. So, thank you.
Al, what would you like to do with your motion?
Hearing no second, I don't think there's anything I can do.
Withdraw it.
I would second the motion. I believe that we should come forward with at least a direction. And I think that Al, who's an engineer, has thought about it, has considered it. And so I would second your motion. And that's the democracy of the commission. So all of those who are in favor,
We'll
One
have to
point.
have some discussion
okay,
first.
discussion first.
I do not have the page that everybody's looking at with the street names on it.
Okay.
Just It's hard to vote on something I don't have in my head.
We didn't get it.
I don't think you were here.
Okay. Oh, this one, all right, so this goes back to last year.
No, this goes back to early this year.
Okay, I must have
This
this.
doesn't have the western part at all, and he has shrunk some of this. This is up by the lakes, and this is your river. And he added this area here next to the river again, and Joe had requested right through here. Let me tell you.
We can make copies of this and make sure that we include it as a part of our minutes.
This
We'll
is
make copies
Sandalwood?
of this and make it as a part of our minutes to be looked at next time.
We were concerned about the cost.
Do we want to
of
have
the-
continued discussion, Phyllis and
Sorry.
Al? Do we want to have discussion, or do you want to,
I think at this point, I'll withdraw.
okay, so the motion is withdrawn, and there'll be further discussion after more information is available. All right, so we have one other, go ahead, yes,
While we're on this subject, I would like to make a motion.
please do.
And the motion is that it took 20 years to get together and put this entire plan together. And I know because I sat down with some of the individuals that did it, that every single house and every single application was rated. And it's in the master plan, if you look at it, and you'll see why it was chosen to go in a certain way with Phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1, we need to complete, and it takes the opportunity to try and save the Mashpee River because it's the most polluted. Now, what happened a year or two ago was a political decision was made incorrectly that sewering would clean up our ponds. Sewering isn't the problem in the ponds. Phosphate is. Lawn phosphate, street runoff, it's in the muck. And power boats turn it up, and it makes the normal algae that's in the ponds hyperventilate and grow like crazy and form mats. That will be controlled by other processes, not sewering. What we've got to do to save the river is to get rid of the 75% of the nitrogen. And if we go wandering off and putting all our money in the ground where there are no homes, which was politically created with number 2C and 2D, that would come in Phase 4, I believe, in the actual plan. It was moved up for political reasons. I want to see us finish our Phase 1 in the original plan that the state approved, the county approved, GHD wrote. They didn't change it, okay? That's the plan. And the other
Excuse me,
thing
Joe,
that
you have a
Al
motion.
just spoke
wanted
of
to
is
put
a
a motion.
change to the basic plan. What question?
You wanted to put a motion on the table.
Well, the motion is to use our original plan as a guidance to come up with the next request for money and expenditure. Finish Phase 1 as the plan was designed. That's what we've got to do to control the pollution. This whole thing is about pollution, about nitrogen. We've got to collect it and get rid of it, and that's what the plan was designed to do. We can't get into the other psychological questions that a lot of people are full of, and they're real. I don't despair with them at all. But if you don't get rid of the nitrogen, nothing gets done, and that's what we've got to spend our money on. So I'd say go back, consider going back to the original plan as defined by GHD.
Joe, I have a question for you.
Yes.
The new waste treatment plant,
Yes.
doesn't that remove phosphorus?
It's
The
not
answer is yes.
intended to, but it can. You
It
can
do-
adjust
no,
the
it
filter
does.
to do that.
It
But
does.
But the phosphorus is not the problem, where the plant was built to get rid of the nitrogen. That's another issue, and once that issue gets confused, nothing gets done We come up with crazy ideas of places to sewer that we don't need to sewer, and we don't sewer the places we need to sewer. So go back to Plan 1. GHD's best engineering effort was marvelous. The state approved it, the county approved it, the townspeople approved it. Follow it. That's my recommendation. That's my motion.
Excuse me, Joe, are we going to be waiting for the options to be presented by the select board, or are we telling the select board the options
It's
that we
our
want?
job to make recommendations. It's their job to do the right thing. We can make recommendations. It's not our job to tell them what to do. We only can recommend. And that's what I've made a motion that we recommend, that they follow the original plan and not the alternative Phase 2.
Well, it sounds like, Joe, they're not going to be asking for our advice come Monday.
May I suggest something?
Yes.
I wish to respect the relationship that Ray maintained with the town manager, knowing and having personal conversations with Ray. I trust that those types of issues were shared with the town manager, and I would like us to wait until Monday, until the select board meeting, to see what their plan is, and then reconvene maybe in an emergency session or a special session to come back and see if we're comfortable with that going forward.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I honestly believe that there's more information that is pending based on, there's so many changed conditions since these plans were developed that I honestly believe I'd like to wait for the information to best guide us. We can do that based on what the plan that the select board comes up with. We can meet, we can discuss it, and then we can make our observations known to the select board.
Would you like to make a motion to that effect about a special meeting to review this? With the
We have a motion on the table.
That's my thought.
That's true.
She can modify the motion if she
Well,
wants to try
that,
to.
again, modify it to the extent that I wish to recognize the fact, I wish us to all recognize the fact that conditions have changed since previous plans, that there is information being collected that will reveal the differences in those changes, or that will reveal information that helps guide our decision from the original decisions and can help move us forward. But I'd like to trust the select board to come up with the plan of action, and then us consider it and comment on it. That would be my motion. I would rather not wait 2 weeks to do this, so I would rather do it like the next day.
It seems to me that in a way you're both saying the same thing, that, Joe, you're recommending, or your motion is that we follow through with the 2015 plan. Catherine, you're suggesting that we wait until we look at what the modifications to the 2015 plan is, and then to schedule a special meeting, perhaps next Thursday, in order to consider what the new information is about. Would you accept that as a modification of your?
I'm not sure we'll get the information from GHD that we need, but perhaps through their consultation with the select board, and we will get an update on that, and then meet, I'd say, the next day to consider this.
I'm concerned next Thursday, we have services for Ray Jack. If you
That's
would-
true. Thank you for reminding me.
6 o'clock at night.
That is true, it's at 6 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So
I don't know if my motion was even seconded.
It was.
It wasn't, no.
Okay. So if mine wasn't seconded, you can't modify it, you can make
Right.
your own motion.
So make a new motion, Catherine.
I propose that the Sewer Commission table our discussion of this until Tuesday, when we reconvene in a continuation of today's session to discuss the things that we learn on Monday at the Select Board meeting. And then from there, make a recommendation to the Select Board.
I can't be there on Tuesday.
Well, perhaps we shouldn't pin it down to Tuesday, but to come up with a day that would work for all of us to be able to do that. So can you modify your motion to not include Tuesday? Or I can help you to modify it. If you're recommending at this point, or you're making a motion, that we reconvene
do-
after we've gotten new information
As
from
soon as
Monday night, as
possible.
soon as possible,
Yeah.
within the next week.
I'm traveling next week.
I don't, I have a concern because don't we have to have 10 days of public announcement prior to a board meeting or committee meeting? Notice sent out.
I don't know.
Yes.
We can't continue this meeting.
Well, if we set a date for 10 days from now, we could do something.
Which brings us
So if we
very
keep
close
the
to our normal
language,
meeting.
Yeah.
if we keep the language loose so that we say that we meet at the earliest and most feasible time.
Yeah.
Is that your motion then?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'd be happy to second that.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any dissensions or,
Dissent.
okay. So we have, fine, we're good with that.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move forward with that. The next step the next agenda item that we have is, you have a review of the website that's still in the process, and thank you to Terry Cook, that we've been able to move forward with making the recommendations through IT to get the website redesigned continued. Catherine, did you have anything you wanted to
Just-
share with that?
Just
with
a
us?
quick thing, because Ray Jack was the employee designated to make that, to ensure those requests were completed through the IT department. We couldn't do anything the last couple of weeks with the second request that we had approved. So our committee met yesterday. We sought Terry Cook's guidance, and she agreed if I sent the request to her, she would execute it. And I don't know, she works so fast, it's done. What she could get done, she finished already today, even though I sent the email like maybe at 10:30. And I think the IT department will take care of a few other things. So I have to acknowledge Terry Cook's assistance on so many things around here, but I really appreciate that. She also did one more thing. And I don't want to minimize it because it's a little thing, but it, before
Catherine, excuse me, Catherine, you have to be at the microphone.
I don't want to minimize it, but it seems a little thing. But I just wanted to point out what Terry pointed out to me, was that we mention in this list that is being posted to the website, which is a list of the sewer service area Phase 1, so people are clear. If they're not in Phase 1, they know that they're not in Phase 1. So sometimes the maps are hard to read. So in this one, the sewer service area north includes Falmouth Road partial, and it also includes Sea Oaks. Sea Oaks is the name of the road that serves the Sea Oaks complex. But she noticed the south sewer service area does not include Falmouth Road. It says south of, and it does not include reference to the Summerwood complex, which happens to have addresses on Falmouth Road. So I'm thinking that I would modify this to it says Falmouth Road partial or Falmouth Road Summerwood Complex. And so
Summerwood is huge.
Why don't you just put in Summerwood?
Summerwood
You
Complex.
probably
Okay.
confuse people with the other.
Okay, we'll fix that hopefully today. Okay, thank you.
So the goal of this change of the website was to make it so that people who want to know more about the project and how it's progressing, the information is more readily available within the first page and not have to go through 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 different clicks in order to get to the website. Are there any comments or questions of Catherine about the website design?
So all the changes have been made. You can go in and check for new improvements on the website. We still have more to do. I acknowledge that, but I think we'll wait a little while until we put out the next request. So that's it.
Great. Thank you for all your work. Okay, we have a couple more items on the agenda. One was a discussion of the septic to rainwater conversion, and I have no idea what that means. So does anyone have anything to say about that?
No idea.
Okay, then we're going to take that off the agenda.
I think I know what it was.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who proposed this for the agenda.
Chad gave it to me. gave
He
me-
did. Well, we had had a presentation, I don't currently remember his, a resident's name, who
It was
lives
2
in.
weeks ago, and it was
Yeah.
Carl Cavassa.
No, it was previous to that. We had a resident.
2 weeks ago, it was discussed with Carl, and it should be in the meeting
Oh,
minutes.
it was, but it was also,
Could you slip to the subject, please?
well, I think the subject, rainwater conversion, was could we take the sewer? These are people that aren't being sewered. They're on islands. They're not being sewered. And can they use their wastewater to spread on their lawns? That's what I understood that to be.
Oh, that was something different.
That's
But
not
we-
in our purview.
It's
We should
not.
contact
Yeah,
the state,
exactly.
Yeah, I just.
contact
wondered.
the state environmental.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're not really going to address
Yeah,
that
we're
then.
not.
There was one other issue that was raised about the time period of when people needed to hook up, and I believe, and it's in our rules and regulations.
Yes.
And I believe we should just leave it as it is and not try to change it. So are you
I'll
all in
second
agreement
that.
with that? Okay, so we'll make it as a motion, and it's been seconded. So we'll keep the time frame to be 90 days in terms of the time for connection. Okay, the last item of business is that in May, we were supposed, as a commission, we were supposed to have a discussion about reorganization and a vote on reorganization. So we need to bring that forward since it's an annual thing of all the commissions and departments. And essentially, it means that we need to look at the officers within the commission and what we want to do about it. Staying as we are, come up with new direction. Is there any discussion about this?
Well,
I think
would-
we should move it forward until things settle down.
I agree.
It's not an
Stay-
issue
stay-
to address
I-
today.
I think we should be stable, stay stable while we recover from Ray Jack's loss.
I agree.
But I can make a motion to end the meeting?
I would like, yes, we can do that in just a second, but as we begin to talk about reorganization, I think one of the things that's very difficult that we need to think about is having a chair who's not here or doesn't let us know when he's not going to be here is something that we need to consider. I do agree with you that at this point in time, we really should be just stable, but it's very difficult to operate as a commission without leadership. And I will leave that at that.
Made the motion? Do you hear a second on the
Is there a second
I'll second.
I'll
What's the
second it.
motion?
to
end the
adjourn?
meeting?
Oh,
and the meeting is adjourned. And thank you for all your participation, and thank you, Susan, for your help.